Let's talk about graft matters. Today, those 60 days have lapsed, as was given by the president. The CEO, EACC, is asking for more time. I see you're smiling. I don't know why, but we'll get to your thoughts on that. However, the former Prime Minister is saying this is all lip service that's been paid to the Kenyan public in as far as this whole matter in fighting graft is concerned. 4 cabinet secretaries should know their fate this week. Also, Senator, I think it's Sonko and Lamu West MP Julius Ndegwa. So just status update on where they stand. It was a total of 175 names that were on the list. EACC has been able to look into 56 files, have only forwarded 21, and the 60 days, as I've mentioned there earlier, gone. What do you say, Kilonzo, to those 60 days now have lapsed? They want more time. How does this play out in essence? If more time is not granted, first let's start there, by the president, they'll of course still continue their investigations. Of course. Just that people will not be forced or asked to be out of office. Is that correct?
This was never serious from the beginning, and you realize the statements were lofty. The tone was absolutely serious. The following week, there was this shenanigans of the commissioners resigning, etc., etc. What you saw yesterday, the idea, why would every newspaper headline have a headline story about a file leaving the office of that gentleman who was issuing a press conference to the DPP? That's not the way the law is supposed to work. That is not, it's nothing. It means nothing that he has prepared a file. The most important aspect of this is the work of a director of public prosecutions. But we must remember that as we are doing this, these people who you splash their names on the headlines are still innocent. And 2, the fact that we have no commission as we speak today begs the question as to whether what this gentleman who you have given so much attention is doing is of any value to this republic. Because we have an issue about how the way the list was forwarded, who forwarded it and how it was done. So I also repeat that this is absolute lip service, because you, in the process of all these things, files are moving to the DPP, he says, I have no case against so-and-so, I have no case against so-and-so, I have no case against so-and-so. And therefore, as far as I'm concerned, the 60 days that deadline was just a deadline. It was just another 60 days, because these processes take a little more time than they appear to have taken. But what did you expect when the following week or the day after the commissioners were being forced to resign or being offered ambassadorial appointments by state functionaries? These people are joking with corruption.
All right.
Yes.
So Senator Wamatangi, the argument from what we're hearing even with Raila is that this was choreographed to fail from the very beginning, that this was a scheme, it was just PR, as we'd hear some quarters look at it. But at the end of it, in terms of a real commitment and fighting corruption, that's not there from the government.
As Kenyans know from the history of some of these speakers, because none of them is new to the public arena, and the CORD leader and the others who are commenting are not new. And the history of how they operate, their commentary, their thinking towards such actions is known. I mean, it's not rare to hear the CORD leader making such comments before. I mean, he's made such comments, but you know, this is the dividing line. That do they make these comments just to gain political mileage? If you ask me, was this a serious process? I mean, why would one argue that a process that we know has culminated into 4 cabinet secretaries sitting home waiting for their fate, which is still unknown, several PSs suffering the same fate, including even advertising of those PSs jobs just in anticipation, and thirdly, even having some of even our own sitting members, including our own senators, being prosecuted. I mean, how would one say that process is not serious? And if you look at, for example, the deadline, we are all talking about the deadline, the 60 days are over. Now, what we need to learn as a country, when the president gave that 60-day ultimatum, now he was trying to introduce a firm sense of urgency to say that we have to look at things differently, that unless we put thresholds of time, then this could be business as usual. But it is not. And I would want to beg to differ with my colleague here on especially the processes now as pertains to what the commission is doing. I mean, we know this process. First, it has to be an investigation, and I quite agree that all those people are innocent until proved guilty. So how do you prove somebody guilty? It is you investigate, then you move the files to the DPP, then the DPP will make his recommendations after perusing the files, and then you move to court. And that is the process. That's what has been followed now. And I want to say this finally, that since the history of fighting corruption, and we remember all the history of P.O. Lumumba when he was there, we remember when Aaron Ringera was there, and this time when Mumo Matemo has been the head of this department. If we were to be sincere as a country, and I think I would want to urge that we quit cynicism on issues about this country that require us to bond together to attain a common goal for the good of the country.
Right.
And so I think
but
we should all...
Is there a commission? You know, you should answer a fundamental question according to your government. Is there a commission?
My colleague here sits with me in the Senate. The easiest way to establish if there is a Senate is for, if there is a commission, is for my colleague to come to the floor of the House and pose this question, and this is investigated. The fact is that there exists a commission, even in the absence of those three commissioners, because what will happen is that they need to recruit
still working.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'll bring this to you, Senator Omar, and ask this. Isn't it dishonest for those criticizing this process to ask for this firing and ask for tougher action to be seen to be done when there is due process and must be followed? These people are all innocent as they stand now until they're proven guilty. So why is it we're asking for these extraordinary measures of just get people out of office?
First and foremost, if you want to realize that the Jubilee is not sincere, you do not let a litany of almost 5-6 cabinet secretaries be caught up in the web of corruption for 2 years. We've told them, you're stealing, you're stealing. Look at this SGR thing. You guys are ripping us off, you're ripping us off. I think then there was a point at which the chorus against Uhuru had become so, the goofs were just too many. So when the corruption is peeling him away, insecurity is peeling him away, the ethnic character of government is peeling him away. So I think he needed to do something extraordinary. And if you want to know how they play to the gallery, you do a State of the Nation address, and the first people who receive this shame, so to speak, is the media, before even Parliament itself receives it on Tuesday next week. So there's some people go make photocopies as spin doctors of the presidency, so that they can now start to create the ground. Only for what happens, it's the same thing which my brother Junior here is talking about. So also the spin doctors at work again. They've given you all these dossiers so that they can go create a chorus of headlines to make it appear like, you see, we're moving. And in 60 days are here. I was smiling because one old man was telling me these guys were not sincere. Siku za mwizi Kiswahili ni 40 sio 60. So beyond that, the thief is free. So I think they realize that somebody will go to court, and challenge the composition of the commission, because the commission is commissioners. That's why it's called commission. Yes. You know. So I think what happens is so like a board is the board of directors. Yes. So I think what happens is that somebody is going to court and is going to stop this whole process. In fact, we saw it last week. I think last week, but one. So this is a whole choreography of events. Then you try to hound out of office very people who, you know, the committee. I talk to COD members who sit in the committee on legal affairs. They tell you they had already agreed that there was no case to answer. So suddenly, so they wanted to dismiss the petition. The next day, they all come flaring up, and the Jubilee says, no. They literally alter the course of discussion, and now now recommend to the president to set up a tribunal. So the circus is what Matangi wants us to believe is a sincere process. You see, we are not
so
gallery. No, just a minute.
We are not
gallery people. We're not gallery people. We're not gallery people. We are more critical.
You'd have been more critical. Would you have then, say you were president today, would have come in and fired all of these people?
Absolutely
would
not.
Have had due
Listen,
process,
what happens is we present. You see, in terms of now the euphoria you want to build around your sincerity, is that why now you make it appear like you're sacking everybody, telling everybody to step aside? Because you have no other strategy. The only other strategy is to appease the national psyche. When you want to appease the national psyche, so there is also a possibility of miscarriage. A few people have been cleared already. I've been hearing Kimemia, who we thought probably was the was the epitome, and the epicenter of corruption himself has been, it's been cleared. Orengo has been cleared. A few others have been cleared. Kingi has been cleared. We've been reading this thing.
Is Orengo called or is
before we polarize,
Orengo is called.
been cleared.
No, so if you just let one issue
Hold
here.
on, gentlemen.
You can't win arguments that are based on constitution.
Hold on, Omar.